Welcome to Vision Profiles Podcast. Join us, actually 3 dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, as we dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty, a faculty member at Kent State University, podcaster, and an avid Apple product fan.
And I'm Eric Bolden. I work in IT, but my interest is in finding interesting ways to share content. Currently, photography of plants and birds, and panoramic sequences, and recently taking 2D videos and watching them in 3D, which is so much fun.
And I'm Daniel Burkholder, a software engineer and technologist currently interested in generative AI and AR, VR technologies, and frankly taken aback how you're making 2D photos. Wait, did you say 2D video, 3D video? Or 2D photos,
Yeah.
3D video? Okay, I thought I heard 2D photos to 3D video. That was going to be a real feat there.
Well, I'd need a lot more of them. It's probably doable, but I don't have,
We already have a question in the chat room. I don't know if since you're already talking about 2D VD, 3D, VD is not what we're talking about. That will get us kicked off of.
Yeah, there goes our iTunes rating.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, anyways, Gary had a question. What do you guys recommend for sharing spatial video now that you can edit in Final Cut Pro? Where do you share? Eric, I'm turning to you on that one.
I think there's only one thing out there right now, really. And that's it's gone now.
He mentioned Spatial Station and Immershare.
Oh, actually, so there are several. Like, you can upload it to a website. That's actually really good. And Spatial Station is my preferred one. Just, it seems to work. They didn't add a lot of extra bells and whistles, and they've got a ton of content, as well as you can include some information about where the video was so that it shows up on the globe mappings and in some of the other software. But what was the one we covered a couple weeks ago?
Vimeo?
Yeah, Vimeo also. I had problems with it early on, but it seems to be a little bit better now. And if you want to post something in social media, Vimeo seems to be one of the better ways to do that, because people can actually play it, and it seems to correctly show up in many of the social media spots.
And Gurn mentioned Spatial Media Toolkit for converting old 2D videos to 3D videos. So,
yeah, that's good.
There's some interesting stuff going. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff going on in the chat room. Just a reminder, you can follow us and follow the live stream on youtube.com/@visionprofiles Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, or catch the video later on YouTube or the audio on any podcatcher series. We'll put all of the information of the links that we have into show notes in the podcast or on YouTube, so you'll be able to find what we're talking about. Thanksgiving, did you guys do any Vision Pro-y stuff for Thanksgiving?
Nothing really on my side. It was very quiet Thanksgiving for us, so not like any family or anything come down. So no opportunities to scare relatives with, their first VR experience or make them freak out, and so nothing like that for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, I brought mine with me on our 1,300-mile trip, and tried to find time to sit down with a couple of relatives and say, "Do you want to check this out?" And they're like, "Oh yeah," but the time never happened. So the thing only went on my head a couple of times, but not in the presence of anybody else. So,
Yeah, in
Daniel,
my case,
yeah,
there was
go ahead,
a
Eric.
brief
Yeah.
moment. There was a brief moment where everybody went out shopping, and I skipped that because I had a work thing that popped up, and it was nice. I didn't have to go hide in the basement to get to my computer stuff. I basically just had a keyboard and Vision and threw it up on the wall, and it turns out the dining room table is directly above my Mac Mini in the basement, so I can actually connect and share the screen from the basement to the upstairs and get everything.
Yeah.
So it was really nice.
Yeah, I traveled with my Mac Mini, the new Mac Mini M4, and a dead screen a screen that I could use if I wanted to use it, but also with the Vision Pro, and could play with it through that, which was kind of fun. Daniel, you got some news. I'm looking at the things you've added into the show notes that the Immershare comfort head strap for Apple Vision Pro, you managed to score one of those.
Immersive. Oh, the Anna
Anna
Pro.
Pro, excuse me, not Immershare. Sorry.
Yeah, I finally got mine. I'm liking it so far. It's definitely a little different than the first version. Like how they changed it up. I think they definitely changed it up to fit a lot more heads. Uh,
Mm.
so I don't, it's definitely different. It's better different. It sits higher up. Whereas the other one sat more like at the like more on the front of my forehead, where the newer one seems to sit up more. Um, but I'm liking it. I'm digging it. I definitely think it's an improvement over the first one. Um, the only mild complaint I have about it is it's a little looser on the audio pods.
Hmm.
Um, but that doesn't, like when you have it strapped on, it's, being pulled, so it doesn't matter. But I like to kind of grab it like it's a little handle from that one. So then it starts wobbling in my hand a little bit, but that's a me problem. So
Yeah, I don't think I'm going back. Although they haven't reduced price now. That's interesting. I haven't. I have a version one, but I really don't think I'm going back to buy the version two. The version one, as you know, just did not fit for me. So I, you know, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. And the picture is wearing without the light shield. That seems to be popular amongst Anapro folks, not using a light shield at all. So
yeah,
uh, don't know about
I'm a
that.
big fan of no light seal because it really just feels like that I'm wearing huge glasses with like big frames. But that's a really good feeling.
Well, you got your Anapro. I got um, the Belkin strap. Um, and this is a review, sort of. It comes out of a German uh, site where it talks about Vision Pro sits comfortably on the head. That's not easy. Solo knit band, and then also the option for the dual loop band. They're not fooling around here. They have got the links to the ability to purchase either one of those if you want it, and you can keep the solo knit band on, as you know. The dual loop strap. It has that Velcro across the strap here where you can just simply pull it, tighten it, loosen it, whatever you need to do. I find myself not having to do that much once I get it on my head. So it's a pretty interesting strap. And it's now on my solo loop, and I keep it on my solo loop with and really don't take it off or don't switch over to the dual loop option. So that was my traveling kit, and my headset is set up on a mount behind me with it still on it. So I would encourage folks to take a look at that too if they're looking for that cross compatible strap.
Yeah, and I mean, try all different kinds of ones. I mean, look at the other headsets on the market. They have dozens of different types of not they don't call them light seals, they'll call them facial interfaces, which is good term, but it does sound silly. Um, but I mean, yeah, I mean everybody's head's different, right? So try a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, it is it is weird to try these different things on, but I've got to settle in with it, and the one that I've got. So let's get down to some of the stories, and we'll start with surprise, surprise. There is a story about Apple. I'm clearing it so I can get the story up. Apple having been working on the Vision Pro for since 2008. It's Ben Lovejoy, and this is you see it show up in other articles, but they refer back to the 9 to 5 Mac story. So, do you have any reaction to this?
Confirms what
You
I
know,
thought in many respects.
yeah,
Oh,
and the fact that they've been working on it so long is also a really good indication that they will continue working on it, and there really is no danger it's going to all of a sudden vaporize.
well, and to me, and maybe they didn't, give them a. I don't want to say they had a grand master plan the whole time because I mean maybe they did. I'm not certain of that, but a lot of other Apple technology that was being introduced and added into the phones and stuff, I frankly thought was very confusing. And I didn't see the appeal, like spatial audio. That's like my favorite one I like to point to because, like, do I really want to hear like my podcast sound like it comes out of my pocket? No. But in the world of the Vision Pro, spatial audio makes infinite sense, right? All this LiDAR experience that they've had doing AR stuff. Nobody who was really pulling out their phone to do like like a Lego Minecraft demo like they did on so many presentations for new iPhone announcements. It's like, yeah, cool. And it does have other benefits aside from like AR stuff, but it just you can see how it's this big culmination of all these different things that kind of didn't have a place. And now when they put it all together, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, actually, I miscredited this. Apparently, it was Jason Snell, Dan Moran, I guess, is got the idea to look at the Internet Archive, and he looked at some reminded us about a piece of content covering patents in this particular patent. So they him and Jason Snell kind of went back and took and found this patent and then shared it in articles, and a lot of people are picking it up. And I think it does speak to the longevity of the idea. And I think it's kind of exciting. And I mentioned this on another podcast that the possibility that Apple's thinking of other things and they're just patenting them and patenting them and patenting them for we don't know how to build this yet, but let's patent it because when the future comes, we might have the ability to pick that up and we already then own the patent and no one's going to jump on it before we do or can jump on it before we do. So there's that kind of forward thinking piece that I think is pretty exciting about that opportunity. I'm going to go to there's a couple of more articles on this. I like this one in particular, which came out of Macworld, and it's like "Stay foolish, Apple." First doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't necessarily lead to success. And so it's just kind of exciting to see that people are acknowledging that. It's stuff that we always knew. Siri and large language models not really expect to come to its full sometimes until 2026. And they talk about Vision Pro in the article, but the idea that these things are, and they show again the patent that we had. And so they cover that, I think, pretty well in terms of suggesting that you don't need to be the first. Apple is not necessarily the first with process. So, any comments on that, guys? Okay.
I agree.
Well, thanks for the deep insights. Let's go to the next news article, which happens to be, and we tested this out. I tested it out this weekend, and possibly Eric tested it out this weekend. That the Mac Mini is really pretty cool, and the stand that it's on, I want that stand. Is it Belkin? Belk? No. Senteki has shown this model of a stand they're going to do for the Mac Mini. You know, they have them for the previous models of Mac Mini. It's like, yeah, I want one of those because I can do a lot of stuff with it. But
Is that
so
the
it talks
stand? I
about
thought that was the battery pack itself.
the battery pack itself.
Yeah, I thought that was the battery pack itself with an AC inverter in it.
Oh, all right. Yeah, you're right. But it's got all those other connectivities in it too. So I was assuming it was just a stand with the connectivity.
Yeah, for the listeners, just imagine a Mac Mini sized portable battery, but with an AC inverter in it too. So then it just loops back and plugs right into it.
Okay, so
Although it looks
I,
like you can't charge the battery and use it at the same time.
Yeah, because it's got a big old honking cooling fan on it too. Which that
so
would
it
annoy
has to.
me, and they were saying it was quite loud, both electrically and mechanically, and that would bother me.
Well, just
But
imagine. I was thinking of Eric with this that this would be a portable device that he could take with him because he uses his Vision Pro and his computer in combination in places. So
Yeah, it looks good. At the moment, I think I'm still hanging on to my Milwaukee Tools batteries, but
yeah.
the extra ports that's a nice addition.
this is a concept I've been seeing more people do, like outside of Vision Pro, and being interested in doing. I mean, even a friend of mine, he wants to build a backpack jig with not a Mac Mini, but a Legion Go 2, I believe it is, and it's all part of a cosplay costume he wants to do that's cyberpunk
Hmm.
themed. But I've seen other people with the same idea, like let's put computer and honking battery and then use a headset as another display. So it's the idea seems it's infecting people, which is, I mean, cool. Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah, well, I have a second article here on that that I'll include in the show notes. It comes again from Heise, which online um, previous or another article that we'll have from that group, I think, coming up. But they're again saying this is the way to make the Mac Mini portable. Particularly, you can use it with your Vision Pro. That's the exciting part of it. I don't know. It feels like something I might want to try.
It's
Um,
worth it.
yeah, for the cost, I think the cost is like $60. I think I saw. So it'd be cool. Pop that in your backpack and go around with that. I'm gonna skip to Real Madrid. You guys in line with that? Because that's the that was the thing that I've wanted out of sports all along, and out of Vision Pro. Um, this week, Apple and Real Madrid explore immersive sports streaming for the Vision Pro. And there are a couple of articles on that, one from Mac Observer and one from 9 to 5 Mac that we can talk about. But yeah, I don't care how bad it is. I just want to have cameras all over the park that somebody will switch the cameras and it'll show up on my Vision Pro. And it looks like the way Apple could get entrance into this is literally to say, "Hey, we'll reconfigure your park with cameras for our purpose." I don't know, then they have to go through contract arrangements. If you're going to do it with MLB or you're going to do it with the NFL, they have their own contract arrangements they'll have to be. But apparently, they're just negotiating this directly with Real Madrid, which is pretty exciting.
I'm going to look forward to seeing the results of that.
Yeah. Well, remember just a couple of weeks ago, this product was dead and nobody is investing in it. So they're talking about the 8K 3D video with a 180-degree field of view and spatial audio impacting it. So it's all very cool.
I wish I was into watching sports. I will maybe watch some esports. Now, someone needs to do that. Have all the different players' screens and then like a 3D render of the map. I want to see that. Which they've been doing that with some of the real life sports like Formula One and stuff. Or what was it? One golfing tournament, I think too.
Yeah.
They were doing some cool stuff.
Yeah. So this is kind of this could be a successful immersive test case that could lead to major interest from other sports. And as much as I'm not a big soccer fan, I would turn this on in a minute just to see what the process is like and how they do it. So yeah. Next, I think we talk about the competition. I call it the competition. Actually, it might be good for all of us if we have an opportunity to. Samsung apparently claims some ground this week. The new XR wearable patent challenges Apple Vision Pro. So it's a patent, it's not an actual device yet. Did you guys take a look at the actual design of this, or at least what the patent was? To
Yeah, it looks
me,
awfully familiar to aftermarket head straps for other headsets too, like with the a larger back pad that probably has the battery in it, and they have the ratcheting turn to make adjustments.
yeah, I saw that and I said that's just straight out of Meta.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
it makes me
it's
wonder how they could get away with patenting it.
and then they have like the shield, the head shield across the top, and I thought, well, that's what a lot of head strap attachments are doing right now. It made me think of the Anapro, actually. Um, so there just seems to be, Samsung's doing what they always do. They're slightly building off of other people's design. And then, here's a good shot of the whole setup.
So one of the articles is talking about some sort of touch sensors.
Oh,
Well, they talked about haptic. I
Well,
don't.
the haptic, but that first article says that the display module may integrate touch sensors, and I just kept visualizing people poking their eyes to control things, and it seemed like that would go horribly wrong. But it was interesting.
Well, I mean, the reason I think that Apple got away from the whole process of the crown and all of the stuff that we used to have to do with it was basically to get us away from touching our face all the time. And
Yeah.
if they have some sort of, that might be the way they're choosing to control stuff without having to do all the cameras and controls from your fingers.
Yeah, I
So
don't
you
think
just
they'd
have
want.
fingerprints all over.
Well, I bet you the touch sensors wouldn't be on the face. That would be strange, but maybe on the sides because they have very wide bands that go around. I could see like touch sensitive areas on there. But then what would you do with that kind of thing? Because that's very vague. Like scroll, swipe, but then just use your fingers. And let's not forget there's other inputs in the realm. Like what was it? What was
Yep.
Meta's really cool Orion glasses with the neural band so they can do I'm forgetting the big words. um, I want to sound smart. um, um, I forgot the words, but they can register brain activity to register quick clicks and scrolls and taps and whatever. Like that seems more the route to go for a more subtle use of it. Like, I could be scrolling with my hands in my pockets, right? Um, and have a higher resolution input than some kind of just touch sensitive area. I don't know what I'd do with that.
Yeah, you look at the you look at the I've lost it. I lost the article. Where is it? No, that's Real Madrid. You look at the design here with it, and I don't know if the straps, the side straps, have any tactile sensors in it. It looks like they're just straps. Um, I mean, they don't indicate, but you can see different patent numbers on it. They don't indicate any functionality with it.
Although
So,
the first article says the headset's display module may integrate touch sensors capable of accurately detecting user interactions. To me, that
Hmm.
implies you're going to be putting fingerprints over your eyes a lot.
it wouldn't be an external sensor, Daniel, would it?
Uh, Seems like a weird thing to call out explicitly then in the patent.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
hmm. I don't know. Strange. I mean, maybe they'll have some wacky idea, but but I would say one thing: if other people aren't doing wacky or doing similar input, um, you might not see a lot of adoption, right? We all know what happened with the touch bar, and I'm sure there's many others in history that I can't think of that are like fun human interface devices, but no one really adopted them, and it never really spread.
Hmm.
You know, and I will call this out right now because um, all of these articles that were generated, the first two that I shared, the third one that we have, this came out because patently Apple found it. It wasn't like a release or a press release per se, but on November 5th, patently Apple posted a report titling Samsung revealed in a recent presentation to investors, okay, that XR devices will be launching in 2025. So I think basically patently Apple kind of pushed this out. And I don't know what the motivation for doing that is. Well, they're not necessarily just Apple fans at Patently Apple, but it kind of says, hey, look what's coming. with another device, and surprisingly, it looks just like ours. Well, not surprisingly, because it's Samsung, and we know where they went with phones. So yeah. Okay. I didn't take much a look at this, but I figured it's again part of the competition. Rokid Max 2 AR glasses, which tells me there must be a Rokid Max 1. Um, Again, another shot at AR glasses. Not really very much highly thought of by Apple Insider. Glasses, the hardware shines, but the software needs polish.
I see these all the time, and part of me wants to get and try them out just because, especially since I'm already a
Mm-hmm.
glasses wearer. But also at the same time, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I want them. I want to want them. How about that?
Yeah, I'm just reading the line here from the article. The glasses are designed to look inconspicuous, but anyone in looking at you directly will know you're using AR glasses. The plastic
Well,
construction makes it lightweight.
and with with the size and the kind of odd frame shape and the fake like little you know how Ray-Ban has the little signature in the corner of the
Yeah,
lens? They have their own little Ray-Ban like logo on the corner of the lens. And so to me
I
it
didn't
almost
see
looks
that.
like you're
Oh yeah, there
you're
it is.
wearing like those glasses from when you go to the eye doctor, but they're Ray-Ban branded. That's what they kind of make me think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I have some Meta Ray Bans that I have with the little branding on top, and they actually. My daughter said, "Oh, those new glasses look really nice, Dad." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, they're essentially Ray-Ban Wayfarers." So,
Yeah.
um, so my myopia correction up to 6D, brightness 600 nits, resolution 1200 p per eye. Um,
Yeah, these are nothing
using
more than just virtual display glasses, which nothing against
Yeah,
that.
and then a Station 2. You can
Oh
connect
yeah, I
using
forgot about
Bluetooth
that.
devices like your mouse, keyboard to Station 2. Downloading apps and using 3 menus at once made the Station 2 remote rev up its fans considerably. So, for those of you who have, how much are they? Did we get a price tag on them?
I believe it's
Uh,
a Kickstarter,
oh, it's a
uh,
Kickstarter. So, we
which I
will
mean will
most
have a
likely,
price, but
yeah, we'll have a price, but um, we'll never know. Kickstarter with late pledges. All right. So more and more of new competition out there with it. Okay, guys, did you pay attention to these awards that Apple has put out for this year? Particularly the Vision Pro awards. Um, they put out one for
Oh,
apps, Vision Pro apps, and also Vision Pro games.
interesting.
yeah, I didn't see much that was of interest to me personally, but I can see why they were. And I haven't tried any of these ones either. I can
Yeah,
see why they selected them. They look pretty interesting.
Well, and What If still kind of holds up. It was good when it came out.
Yeah. And there was no way What If was not going to be on there. But I feel like they could have thought of one other thing other than jig space. But I can't think of anything. The app of the year is ultra wide Mac virtual display.
Yes.
Let's be real.
Yep, but that's not out yet till the 9th.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I forget being on betas and stuff.
Well, jig space is that design option and so enterprise view, enterprise stuff, basically, with jig space. And they showed demonstrations of three-dimensional models of jet engines that you can do. And so if you've got a business and you want to sell your product or you want to train people on your product, then this is the app that will help you get that accomplished. The NBA, not a basketball fan, but people love the NBA and love the option of watching games that way. And then the What If, the immersive story that we talked about, that's pretty cool. The other three, which are the Vision Pro Game of the Year finalists, Luna. Luna is I kind of like. It is the thing that I don't like about Luna is they haven't put new content out. Now you have to pay so much to get the content, and at one point I thought it was a subscription. And I thought, okay, well, let's see what this is like, and let's see if the content will come out and I can use it. Let me see if I can switch to the app if it takes me there from this link. Yeah. It's basically dioramas that you put together from pieces. And it's a puzzle. It's a three-dimensional puzzle, and there are, I think, 10 of them in the first series, and I enjoyed it. It was, I don't want to say meditative; that term's overused, but it was a kind of a focus thing to put things together. I think maybe they got a little more complicated each one that you did, but not significantly enough that you would notice it. But it was a fun thing, and I'm like, okay, so I'll hold on to this app. And I can't wait for them to say, "Hey, we've got new content. Buy content pack 2 for $3." I would have done it. But the app hasn't really migrated because I just checked it last week. It hasn't really migrated into any new content. So, but I enjoyed it. I can see that as being one of them, one of those options. Thrasher is I like the fact that both of those are only available for Apple Vision Pro. I think if you're going to have an Apple Vision Pro category, it needs to be apps that are only available on the Apple Vision Pro. And Thrasher is a bit of an arcade game. You can see some of that. No, you can't because I'm not on the site here. So it's a arcade game with. I'll have to see if I can recycle that. There we go. Where it's using hand movement and such to generate. And it's like a centipede that's kind of rolling through space with it. And then the last one, Vacation Simulator. I have a Meta 3. The simulators, there's a couple of them. There's like Office Simulator and there's like Restaurant Simulator. Very popular series from Alchemy Labs. And this is basically the Vacation Simulator. I don't want to say ported over to the Vision Pro, but it's kind of a comical, cartoony sort of game. Let me see if I can get that running again.
Yeah, I haven't played Vacation Simulator, but
yeah,
I bet.
Yeah, Vacation Simulator. And it the computer taunts you to do stuff, and so it's kind of task focused. But I kind of, I'm glad that they ported it over from, or brought it over from Meta 3, that they produced it uh, on Meta 3, but that they brought it to produce on Vision Pro. But I was kind of hoping there would have been one that was just a game made for Vision Pro and not made elsewhere.
Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and relook. Maybe we should come up with our own list.
Yeah,
It's actually a good idea.
yeah, and maybe make it just Vision Pro. The criteria is it has to be Vision Pro only, and see what we come.
Hmm. Because I would have expected them to mention like in space, even if that was just like a follow up, or maybe
Yeah,
one of the games in space, if you didn't want to do the whole environment.
yeah, yeah. I'm surprised that we didn't get there. Speaking of in space, that's sort of our next article. In space is an app that I know I love and enjoy, and it was the first thing I ran into. And so I noticed that there was a upgrade to the latest release where they did some interesting things within space. This came obviously out of Reddit. That's where the website is. But if you haven't checked out In Space, we'll keep you up to date as it comes along. But you've got some improvements that include spatial posts supporting panoramic images, automatic language recognition and translation,
Hmm.
calendar button to control panels and direct party booking, party messages. A party is basically a gathering under a topic. So if you want to do a book club on the latest book, you can create a party, which is a booking where other people can see it and can join you in your space during a specific time. So that's how those get booked. Now you can do that um, with the calendar button in the control panel instead of having to find other ways to book. Shared videos in parties can be muted. Bulletin board supports clickable and copyable URLs. Man, I remember that trying to share URLs with folks in InSpace. So that's nice to see that addition. Search for users by region, more wallpapers for space decoration. That'll bring Eric back into it right then and there. Daniel, have you done anything within space?
No, I really should, but
I
I don't know
I
why
I
I don't. I'm just not a big social app person, and not for any particular I mean, other than Discord. But even then, um, but I should give it a shot
Yeah,
and
your
try to
silence
give it
indicated
more
your
into it.
silence. Your silence in my excitement indicated to me that you obviously hadn't touched it yet. And I
I
know
have a
Eric's been in
room.
there. You do
I
have a
have a
room. Oh,
room, and it
okay.
has
Well,
a
that's a start.
couple pictures of me and my partner, and some meme pictures of Tim Cook. So
How how dare you? You've never invited Eric or I over to your in space room.
I will do that tomorrow.
Okay, maybe we'll throw a party.
Woo!
Um, so now I think we get into just a reminder, follow the live stream on youtube.com/@vision profiles Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or catch the video later on YouTube, and the audio on any podcast service with all of the show notes in both the YouTube and in the podcast notes. All right. Now we get into new apps. And, I went away and went to work for a couple hours, and I came back, and you guys had done a number on this section with lots of additions. I don't know who it is. I didn't check the history on it, but y'all better talk up about these as we go about them. Since we did since we just went through now I'm trying to find it. Oh, it's not in there. Since we just went through Thanksgiving, this might be a day late and a dollar short, but the indie app Spotlight Pestle, Pestle.
Pestle. I don't know.
It's a mortar and
Pestle.
pestle. Okay, trying to remember my chemistry days. They just did some upgrades with it that might mean taking a look at that again in terms of being a cookbook app. Can import recipes. There are a lot of great. One of the things I love is searching for new recipes and then opening up the app. And this is true for Pestle. It's also true for Paprika. It's also true for Recipe Manager or Recipe Keeper. That you can just import. You give it the URL and it populates everything. Like it fills out your recipe card for you is about one way to do it. Oh boy, it's got TikTok support. Yay!
That actually I thought was really interesting. That's cool, actually.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a TikTok user or a Pestle user. I'm just impressed. That's cool.
It can also save recipes from TikTok by transcribing the captions and processing it on the device. My daughter watches some TikTok chef who is like a crabby chef. And the entertainment is she's not only cooking something cool, but she's like crabby. And it's like, you just do it that way, okay? Get over yourself. And so now I can import her recipes and maybe her attitude into this. Yeah. So your price is $24.99 a year or $39.99 for a lifetime. This new lifetime pricing I'm seeing on a lot of apps, and it almost gets tempting. It's sort of like I need to try the app for a while, maybe a month, and then make a decision. Oh hell! Instead of paying $24.99 a year, I'll just buy it for a lifetime. We've got some folks in the chat room. Oliver's talking about Skybox. Just watching what they're saying in here. Yeah, it allows you to watch your own videos in a theater environment. Yeah, I think we talked about Skybox on a previous episode, but it's good to see the chat room is active with people talking about stuff in there. So next, let's go to the next app, Moonplayer. I didn't
And
put that one in.
we've talked about that one before.
Yeah.
But there were some improvements on it, and the reason I brought it up is because I've got a bunch of old, just regular video, and you can press a button and watch your video in 3D instead of 2D. And you don't have to do any prep. You don't have to translate it first. You just play it. And it also kind of boosts the resolution a little bit so that it doesn't look terrible when you actually get some depth and it's not so pixelated you can't see the depth.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it over this past weekend. I went back and I had a bunch of like kid clips and some tutorial things, a couple of sessions, some gardening sessions where they were running around showing clips of a bunch of different layouts, and you could see everything. It was easier to visualize what was in front, what was in back. So yeah, it was actually really, really nice. As well as going back and watching a couple of TV shows that I had in 3D because they weren't originally shot in 3D. That was sort of interesting, and
Does
it
it do
worked
the?
well enough to be believable.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you, does the conversion work with that? Does it? You said well enough to be believable.
So well enough, I
So
want to go back and I want to bring up some like old black and white films, and then maybe a couple of old um, Steve Jobs presentations, and and just go rewatch some other demos. Could be kind of neat.
yeah, I my problem is I keep signing up for these things, and it's like, so what's on your Plex account? Well, I have a Plex account. I don't have anything on it.
Well, in this
So there.
one, I was playing only off of my headset. So I'm
Okay.
only
Hmm.
going for stuff that I have, and I'm either transferring it out of my photos and dumping it into a folder, or pulling it off of one of my other house drives.
Yeah. Um. All right. Which one of you scoundrels put up pre-show theater?
So for people who like going to the theater on time and watching all of the movie ads, this lets you simulate that. So you click at it, you say, "Yep, give me this," and it pulls the set out, and it cuts from one to the other. There's no pausing, and you can just watch as if you just walked in the theater. You have no idea. Well, you can select categories, but I didn't. I wanted total surprise over what I was going to watch, and it just brought up a bunch of previews, and then I could switch to watching my movie. And it was, I had time to get popcorn ready, and it was just a nice experience.
So does it have, let's go out to the lobby, the dancing popcorn? Can you kind of put that stuff in?
No, I think that's theater specific, so you might have to pick up a clip for that. But
Or, maybe the multiple charities that we give to before a movie theater.
Or the
I don't know if you
big
remember that. What?
Coca-Cola bubbles and flavors flying all around.
Yeah, the theaters used to support, I think it was the Will Rogers Foundation, and they would, in the previews, the lights would come up and they would have people who worked in the theater out at the uh, the food desks and things like that come out with hats, and you would donate to the Will Rogers Foundation. Um, and then they'd go back and show you another preview and start the movie.
wow,
So, yeah, yeah, they weren't shy about it either. If you could see the workers kind of like, okay, here's my hat. But it was a connection with that, with the theater and charitable organizations. Um, Reality Player.
so that one got put in there because I was doing the Moon Player, watching a whole pile of you know old video clips and converting it to 3D. So I thought, well, I have like one or two ancient 3D clips, so I'll go watch that. And it turned out the video was all side by side. And Moon Player, maybe there's a way to do it, but I couldn't find a way to convert it. Reality Player, it will import the side by side and play it as 3D video. You didn't have to do really any work. So I used a combination of the two.
It's
So
nine
it was
bucks.
sort of how did I how did I get through a session of movie watching, and what were
Yeah.
the apps I was using.
Okay. I added one in that I will talk about. Um, and I've got to get it over on the side here if people want to see it. Um, yeah, accept all cookies. Simply Piano. My daughter, as you know, is a musician vocalist, and I just saw, I don't know where I saw this. It might have been in Reddit. And I said, well, this is pretty cool. And let's see if I can play the content here and the YouTube won't take us down.
And I think they have an iPad app.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah.
They're really raising up expectations that all your fingers are going to be, automatically labeled, and you get little sparklies when you play.
Oh, I did this afternoon. I should have been working.
How'd you like?
Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Can you hear the audio on this?
No, but we'll have the link so people can go back and watch it.
Yeah, folks will come back and watch it. That's what I did on the desktop because I don't have a piano.
Hmm.
Okay, so she got this gift, and a year later, she's going home, and oh, huggy, huggy. Let me show you what I can do. Um, it is really pretty cool. Um, so yeah, I played with this afternoon, and I and by no means a musician. I self-taught guitar, things like that, but no means can I accurately read music. I know when a note goes up what it means and when it does. I sang in a choir, so I just kind of, I don't say I sight read, but I could follow tempo and pitch based on what I was doing with music. It starts out just taking you through a let's get used to the system. And here's middle C and the note next to it. Here are the half step notes in between there. And then it gives you a series of notes that come moving by once you've learned on the scale what those notes are. And you just hit the two or three notes that you're going to do and as it follows along. And there was a sense of accomplishment for someone who has never touched a piano. So I will pick it up again and toy with it a little bit. But we'll have it's a PR Newswire. There are a couple articles on this, and frankly, PR Newswire did a better job because they're PR. and and in it, both of them had this YouTube video embedded in it, so you could watch the YouTube video. And so it's simply piano. It used to be called, and it was December 1st release to Vision Pro, and I forget what it used to be called, but it is also, as Eric said, it's also on the iPad, and it's available in those kind of ways. But with the Vision Pro, it's really kind of fun to do. I had to push things off my desk, which was the biggest task I had to have clear space to be able to do it, and just had a good time with it.
Piano's about one of the few instruments that could be done with it, at least right now, too, because all your fingers aren't. You don't have to worry about other fingers being occluded, right? Like you couldn't really do a guitar because
Yeah,
part of your hand's not going to be seen, and maybe you're looking over here, and then now it's not seeing what you're doing down the other side.
Daniel, do you play any instruments?
No, some point in my life, I'll take a stab at some like electronic music production. Not any specific like genre, but
Yeah,
sometime I'll dip my toes in that.
yeah. Eric, do you play anything?
At one point, tuba and some flute, because the tuba is not the most portable, so you had to have an alternative.
I'm
that you
just
could
thinking
carry.
of a virtual app where you could play tuba. If you could actually create an app to do a tuba line.
But
Maybe.
then now, but imagine what it would look like when people are using it. You're gonna be running like a, you're gonna be holding
You'll
a
be standing around.
virtual.
That will be fun. Uh,
I mean, do we need to remember what we look like when we're doing this? Because in that promo video where the girl was playing piano and on the plane on the tray table, I'm like,
yeah.
we know what she's doing, but no one else does. She probably looks like a freak.
No, I think
Yeah,
people
but
are smart enough to figure out she must be playing something. These
That's true.
movements with your fingers are pretty identifiable.
It's
and they used to
too
have those
patterned.
wood boards that you could carry with you, so you could practice against a wood surface to kind of
Oh,
build up your finger touch.
oh really?
And it just had all the markings and everything, but there was no movement. That was back when you couldn't just carry an electronic piano with you.
Okay, so this one last thing I don't understand. It's a reference with GitHub.
Oh, I just put that in there because I had the other movie things, and if you know, it was more a note to myself because I was making notes of what I was doing, and I haven't tried that one yet. That was instructions to convert from Blu-ray to a Vision Pro from a 3D Blu-ray releases. Perhaps not quite show material, which is why I had as a reference that we wouldn't talk about, but
Yeah,
I could
if
have
there's
labeled
something we're
it
not going
better.
to talk about, don't throw it in the show notes, okay?
But maybe at a future show after I've had time to try it.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't
Well,
have
if
any. I didn't have any 3D Blu-ray movies.
yeah. Yeah, in a future show you can put it in a future show. A future show note. So,
I will
let you know,
virtually move it to the future.
yeah. So follow the live stream at youtube.com/at Vision Profiles on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, or catch the video later on YouTube or audio on any podcatcher service. Daniel, always good to have you with us.
Mhm.
When I say that, I feel like I'm saying goodbye to you for at least 2 weeks, and then it's good to have you as part of the group. As people who are viewing this, we've been playing around with Ecamm to make our YouTube shows a little bit more interesting, switching to the articles. And I forget who it was. I think it was Cletus mentioned in the chat room. He likes being able to see the articles as we talk about it. But I have to get used to my switching mechanisms and getting used to it there. So things seem a little clunky for the first couple of shows. It'll get better. Daniel, thanks for joining us.
Mhm.
Anything new in your world you want to share?
No, but I have a funny that about quirk about the Vision Pro that will blow, maybe not blow your minds, but it's interesting. When you have, speaking of touch sensitive surface on a headset, um, obviously it's not touch sensitive in the front, but touch when next time you're wearing it, touch your eye, like touch it like on the Vision Pro, because you'll
And
feel
go
like you're
directly in.
touching. You go directly in, but then you remember the cameras are under your finger. And
Uh-huh.
that's just a little bit of a mind like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then you realize how it's doing different corrections, so it actually feels like it actually is where your eyes are looking
Hmm.
out. So there's
Okay.
your mind-blowing Vision Pro thing, and then you'll have to clean your front face after.
Well, if you owned a Samsung, you'd have to do that according to Eric anyway. So,
Yeah.
hey, I want to mention something that we've got, and you'll be seeing this in our feed probably after we do this show, and it comes up in the feed for the podcast or the video cast. We have a two-part Vision Pro Focus that we did with Chuck Joyner of Mac Voices. He's actually already put out the video of it. And the two parts were part one and part two, the top 10 things you want to do when you get a Vision Pro. We still have yet to get Chuck to get a Vision Pro, but we're working on him. And so he cut it into, yeah, that close. He cut it into, I missed it by that much. He cut it into two shows. We're going to produce the audio. It'll come out with our podcast feed. It'll also wind up on our YouTube feed because we're also doing the podcast through YouTube. But if you want to see the video, go to Chuck Joyner at Mac Voices, and you'll get to see the video of Eric and I talking to him about what we think the top 10 things are that people need to do once they get a Vision Pro. And believe it or not, we had some similarity, but we also had some differences. I was into wanting to do wow stuff, and Eric was into wanting to do practical stuff and video stuff. And so it was kind of a fun combination. So join us here, and also look for Chuck Joyner on Mac Voices for Vision Pro Focus is what we're calling this show. And it's going to be typical just discussion around a topic instead of a discussion around article and news like we do every week. And we'll put these out every 6 weeks or so. What's the next one going to be on that we agreed? Oh, there were two topics we talked about, and I can't remember what the second.
I don't remember.
When we figure it out, and as we get closer to the record date, we'll promo it. So thank the panel here, everybody being here, and most of all the folks that are in the chat room who have become very active over the last couple of weeks, and we appreciate their engagement. I need to look over in that direction more often. I get my co-hosts to do that too, because I'm busy trying to figure out what camera to go to with each camera. But thanks for the folks in the chat room and they're having their own conversation. It's kind of fun. And then they're throwing reactions into what we're saying. So it's good to have them as part of the group. Thank you for tuning in. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have ideas or want to join an episode, email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. Learn more about us and Vision Profiles Podcast at our website. You can find it really at thepodtalk.net, and look for the link there where we have all of the information and all of our other podcasts at thepodtalk.net. New podcast I'm doing called Old Mac Gang, with people over the age of 65 talking about tech issues for folks over 65. Wednesday, we're going to do a live recording at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Old Mac Gang here at YouTube. And we're going to be talking about Mac user groups. And we're going to have David Ginsburg as a guest on, who ran a Mac user group for years in North Suburban Chicago. So we're going to talk about that as a resource for people looking for help with their Macs. Spread the word of the Vision Profiles podcast to other visionaries. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.